everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Transparently Dee, where I am keeping it 100% transparent as we extend our family with love through CNY Fertility. What's up, fam? Hello everyone. Today is March 21st of 2019, and y'all know I always get like inspired to film when I'm in the truck. Those who are following me, thank you so much. Those who have reached out to me, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. This has been a rough journey. I don't recall my previous pregnancies being this complex, but this has been a rough journey. So I just wanted to make sure I bring you guys up to speed on where we are in this in vitro fertilization journey. So, you know, yesterday we were supposed to go have an ultrasound done and labs. So what has happened since I last talked to you all? So last time I told you that they said I had a subchorionic hemorrhage, and it was really close to baby A. Baby A did not have, okay, so let me see how this went. Okay, so I started having pains and bleeding. It was just bad. You know, I went to the ER and it was determined that one of the sacs did not have a fetal pole or yolk sac in it. That was the one that was closest to the hemorrhage. So that was kind of devastating. I think the hardest part of that for me was, how do I mourn the loss of one and still be thankful and grateful to God for the other? So that was something that I was battling with, and that's probably why I didn't, you know, record, because that was very difficult for me. I didn't know how to balance that, because I didn't want God to feel like I wasn't grateful for the one that we do have. But I needed to mourn that other one. I needed to mourn that loss, because like I told you guys before, I am very attached to these embryos, all of them. Like the ones that are frozen, the ones that were abnormal, I am just very, very attached to them. And so it was like a loss. But I didn't want God to feel like, oh, she's not even grateful for the ones that I gave her, for the one that I gave her, you know. So it was a balancing act for me, and Stephen as well. It was just a balancing act for us, and we were trying our best to figure out how to handle that. You guys know my faith is 100% in God, and I know that He will not put more on me than I can bear, you know. So then they told me that the subchorionic hemorrhage had gone away, that they didn't see it. And on the 19th, at like 2 a.m., the pain in my stomach just woke me up. And when I say pain, it wasn't like a cramping pain. It's more like a, if I had to describe it, I would say like a burning pain. It almost felt like it was burning, and it was just really bad, and it was radiating into my thighs. And so I just forced myself to go back to sleep, because I was supposed to go to my other job that morning. So I was just trying to go back to sleep, because I had to be up at 5:30 so that I can get to work. The pain was just really bad. I did eventually doze off, and when I dozed off, when I woke up, I felt like oozing. But you guys know that I take the endometrium and the estrogen vaginally, so I just felt like it was the medicine oozing out. Whatever, let me just go and change myself, you know, clean myself up, get ready for work. Now at this time it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, I go to the bathroom and it is frank blood. Frank blood is like red blood. in the toilet. It's all in my underwear. It is like everywhere. And I panicked. I got my towel. I'm trying to wipe myself up with the towel. And I'm like, you know, Steven, I'm bleeding. You know, I need to go to the ER. And it is hurting so bad. I'm telling you, it is hurting like terribly bad. And I'm crying, and I'm emotional, I'm upset, and I really truly thought that I had a miscarriage. And so we get to the ER, and they take my vitals and draw blood, and then the guy draw labs, and then he's like, oh shoot, I need another one. And I was like, I don't even care. Here, just draw another one. I don't even care about you sticking me again at this point, because I needed to know what was going on, you know. So I let him draw me again, and he drew more blood, and then they had to come back and draw a whole nother lab. And I mean, but bottom line is, I was praying when I was in the waiting room. I was like, Lord, please let Steven come in, you know, because I didn't want to be there by myself. And I was terrified, because I know as an ER nurse, sometimes we don't allow other people to come in with you. You know, we just take you in there, and they turn the screen away from you so you can't see anything, and they don't tell you nothing that's going on and stuff. And that's just standard practice, because when you're coming in as an emergency, we are just trying to rule out any emergencies. We're not trying to let you see the baby and give you comfort. We're just trying to rule out that nothing is going on that's going to kill you right now, you know. But I was just praying. I was like, Lord, please let these people let him come back in, and please let us have someone that's nice and this, that, and other. And they did let him come back. And so he was like, I don't know what I'm looking at, of course, because he's never, you know, had anyone pregnant before. So he has no idea what he's looking at. He has no idea what he's looking for or anything. So I'm like, did you see anything? Because they had the screen away from me. And he was like, I really don't know what I'm looking for, you know. Then they set us back out in the waiting room again. This particular hospital in the Metro Atlanta area, I probably would never go back to again, because it was just, I just didn't like the flow of how they did things. I didn't like the fact that they had to stick me 3 times, which I really didn't care, but I really just think that if they were more thorough, then they wouldn't have had to do that. I didn't like the fact that they had me just sitting in pain. I was telling her, I was like, I am in pain. Like, this is hurting a lot, you know. They didn't give me nothing. They was like, oh yeah, we know. And that was it. They didn't say, well, do you want some Tylenol? They didn't try to consult with the doctor, nothing, you know. And then they just had us sitting in the waiting room, and he was just kind of like trying to rub my back and rub my arm and stuff. I was laying on him, and like the pain was coming in waves. It was just so bad. It was so bad. Then we finally got, the nurse practitioner came and got us and took us into the room, and she was like, did you do the ultrasound? I was like, yeah, they did it already. And she was like, okay, well, let me look at those results. And then she came back and she told me that the subchorionic hemorrhage is still there, and that the baby did have a heartbeat, which was 124, and that, you know, I should take it easy. And I explained to her, I said, well, right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm working like 2 full-time jobs, you know, as a nurse. And she was like, yep, that's too much. You have too much at stake, too much, you know, at risk with this for you to be working 2 jobs. You need to cut back on one of your jobs. The thing is, like, I am a workaholic. Like, I really, like, people hear me say that, but they don't like believe me or something like that. Like, I really have a problem with not working. Like, today I'm off. Well, I would have been off. Okay, so I wasn't off. I was off at my primary job. My second job that I picked up that I told you guys about, I was supposed to go there today. But when she told me that no, 2 jobs was too much, then that was it. I was done with that job, like, totally. Aside from the fact that I really didn't like the job. I didn't like it at all. There's a lot of micromanaging going on. I just didn't like working there. But that was it for me with that job. So I'm off. You would think that I would be somewhere resting, right? I'm gonna go to my primary job and do some computer-based learning. I just can't picture myself like just sitting up in the house doing nothing when I could be working. And maybe that's something that I picked up from my dad, or, you know, maybe that's just who I am. I don't know, you know. I think that's just who I am. I cannot sit at home. It behooves me. Like, I mean, it is so confusing to me how, let me say, I'm not judging anybody, first of all. Do your thing. Whatever works for you, run it. I'm just saying, for me, there is no way that I could just sit at home and there's money that could be made that will help my family, that will help our savings account, that will help grow our business, that will, you know, help with, you know, having a cushion for our emergency fund or whatever the situation may be. And I'm just sitting up at home. Like, that has never been me. And I know I'm off on a tangent, but I can remember I had my first child when I was 15. I got pregnant with him when I was 14, gave birth to him when I was 15, and my sister can tell you, she was so angry with me that I had gotten pregnant. And I told her at 14, I said, you know what? When I get 16, I'm going to get me a job, and I'm going to take care of my own baby. I'm not going to raise my baby on welfare. I'm not going to raise my baby on food stamps. I'm not going to raise my baby on WIC and all this other stuff. And let me tell you, I emancipated myself from my dad. Y'all know my dad raised me. I emancipated myself from my dad at 15 so that I could work and so that I could get my GED. And yes, I have a GED. I do not have a high school diploma. I divorced my dad. I became an independent adult at the age of 15. I got my GED. I enrolled in college. I started working. My first day at work, this is why I had to emancipate myself, because I wanted to work 11 at night to 7 in the morning. As a minor, you cannot work 11 at night to 7 in the morning unless you're emancipated. So I went to the courts, plead my case to the courts. 2 weeks later, they emancipated me. And the judge was like, why do you want to work overnight? That's such a dangerous shift, because I was working at 7-Eleven in Orlando, Florida, on Mills Avenue. I never forget those people. That was my first real encounter with, like, dealing with the gay community, because that side of town is a lot of gay people that lives on that side of town in Orlando. And I was raised Pentecostal, so we weren't really, like, exposed to that. You know what I mean? But let me tell you about those people. Those people, they looked out for me. They made sure I had hours at work. They made sure I was safe in there. I had customers that would come in there just to check on me and make sure I was good. Many times I would be in that store all by myself and nobody would know it, because the customers would come in on a regular basis. Like, they was almost taking shifts to watch me. And I'll never forget that. Never forget that. But nonetheless, I emancipated myself because I needed to work. I needed to work so I could take care of my kid. You weren't going to tell me that the only time I could feed my child is on the 9th of the month, because that's when I'm scheduled to get food stamps. That wasn't going to work for me. So that was never a me kind of thing. So when she said, you know, you can't work 2 jobs, you know, as a nurse, we do only 3/12. So that's 4 days a week that I'm really, like, doing nothing. But for the sake of this baby, I told y'all before that I would do anything for this baby. Anything. I'll do anything to make Stephen a father. So I left that job. And we went home. I was still in a lot of pain and stuff. And so we decided to skip over the ultrasound on yesterday. because we had already had lab work done in the ER, we had already had an ultrasound done in the ER, the baby had a heartbeat, everything was good. So, you know, they just told me to kind of like take it easy. So that's why I'm gonna go do some computer-based learning at my job today. So in synopsis, to wrap things up, we do have subchorionic hemorrhage. We did lose one of the twins, so now we're pregnant with a single baby. I am still having a very difficult time, you know, dealing with the loss of that baby, and still being happy and joyful about the one we do have. That still gets me emotional. I am very grateful. I don't want God to ever think that I'm not grateful or appreciative for the one that we are carrying. I am so grateful to Stephen and his support and stuff. You know, things aren't always perfect and they don't always go as we plan them to go, but there's absolutely nobody else that I would be willing to go through this with than him. He's so supportive. He knows that I work this weekend, so he made dinner and packed up my lunches for the day and stuff to make sure that I'm eating and stuff. And I'm just very grateful to God, man. Sometimes we pray to God and we be like, Lord, you know, this is what I want, this is what I want, and then we get somebody and then they're not what we want them to be or whatever, and then or God moves them out of the way and we're like so angry with God. Why did you take them away from me? Why? I thought you said this was my husband, or I thought you said that this was my wife, and da 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 da. Lord, why did you do this to me? When all the while God has everything that you need in his hands. He will always give you what you need, not necessarily what you want, even if the package doesn't look like what you thought the package should look like in your head. The package in my head looked like we should be pregnant with twins. The package in my head said that it would be 2. But even when he don't give me what it looks like in my head, I have learned that he always give me exactly what I need. And for everybody who's on this journey, who's trying to conceive, or who has gone through a loss, or even if you've been in a relationship with somebody and God moved that person out of your life, I want you to know that God is an intentional God. Man, he don't make no mistakes. If that IVF didn't work, that baby was not for you. If that IUI didn't work, it wasn't for you. If that relationship didn't work, it wasn't for you. If they walked away from you, they weren't for you. When people can walk away from you, you have to let them walk. I don't want you to try to hold on to somebody or hold on to a memory of somebody because you don't want to let them go when they have walked away from you. When people can walk away from you, you let them walk, because your destiny is not tied to the person who left. I'm telling you. So although it is so hard for me to come to grips with the fact that I lost this baby, I have to let it go, because my destiny is not tied in the baby that left. My destiny is, however, tied to the one who's still here. And if I believe in God and I believe in his word and I believe that he is intentional, I have to believe that even in this struggle, even in this loss, doesn't mean that I won't cry, doesn't mean that I won't be sad, but it means that I trust him with the very air that I believe, that I breathe, and that I know that I know that I know that I know that God is an intentional God, and he's not going to put no more on me than I can bear, and he's not going to let anything stay and remain in my life that is not 100% determined on my destiny. So that's where we are with this journey. We go to the OBGYN on April 1st. It was supposed to be the 16th, but Steven wants to go out of town. So I want him to enjoy life and travel and just have fun before this baby gets here, because it's going to be life-changing for him. He has no idea, but it's going to be life-changing for him. So I just want him to go, so I changed it to April 1st. I do have a picture. Here's a picture of the baby. Hold on. Because I never have pictures. I don't know how to insert them. Y'all pray for me. This was March 14th. This is the sonogram from when, you might not be able to see it, from when they determined that the other twin was gone. So I do keep this one with me. And as I get more, I'll update it. Eventually I'll learn how to insert stuff, y'all. Y'all just keep me in prayer. I'm gonna try to really, since now I'm gonna be off 4 days a week, really try to like get into editing the videos and inserting pictures. I paid for the program, I just haven't sat down and did anything with it. So I'm gonna try to do that just to learn a little bit more about it. But right now I'm gonna eat me some IHOP because the baby is the size of a blueberry right now. I'm 7 weeks today. I'm 7 weeks today, yay. So I do want to get me some blueberry pancakes to celebrate my 7th week of pregnancy today from IHOP, and then I'm gonna go do some computer-based learning. Other than that, y'all know how we do. Sorry about crying. I'm emotional. Maybe the hormones, or I may just be a crybaby, whatever. Y'all know how we do here though. Keep your faith on fleek. And always remember, strive to be on top, because the bottom is already too crowded. Peace.